The urinal. We've all been there, and I mean all of us. Going into public bathrooms is like walking into an active war zone, except instead of guns, it's pee, and instead of troops, it's some guy trying to sell you drugs. But that's why it's important to optimize the bathroom experience to be as safe and unmemorable as possible. Now, if you're using the actual toilet, then you're too far gone, and I'm sorry for you, but this is where urinal optimization comes into play. Which urinal to choose is one of the most important questions you'll ask yourself, right next to why you even went in a public bathroom in the first place. There's a lot of different layouts and types of urinals in the wild, and the strategies for them vary a lot. From what I can tell, the main urinal setups are 3 standard ones with one being short, some variation of this setup, or the wall of urinals. But to start, let's talk about what we're actually trying to avoid here. Now, while most people are normal and agree to the code of conduct to stay away from people at the urinal, world peace hasn't been solved yet, meaning that there will always be people who don't want to go to the bathroom to pee, they want to go to make friends. We want to avoid this person as much as possible. So let's start with the standard 3 urinal setup. Here, there's usually 2 normal height urinals with one shorter one to the side. If you're lucky, it's not impossible to find this setup with walls in between them. This is an easy block, but unfortunately, getting one of these is not guaranteed. So let's look at our options. One really important player in this setup is the middle urinal. Now, while this may just look like the ones next to it, in reality, this is a buffer urinal and should never actually be used. The problem with this is that this urinal is prime territory for the restroom talkers, so they can have a real nice conversation with you. So let's look at our other options, the tall urinal and the short urinal. Now, the problem with the short urinal is that for most people, it's just an overall worse experience. This makes the tall outer urinal seem like an obvious choice. See, this seems like it would be the right answer, but this would be a rookie mistake. While I did say that the main enemy is the restroom talker, there is another kind of person as well. This person, while they wouldn't want to take the middle urinal, would rather take it than the short one. This means that if you do take the outer tall urinal, there's a much higher chance of someone taking the one right next to you. So this is your risk and reward. Tall urinal is better in a 0-person situation, but has higher risk of a middle urinal user. The short urinal is usually worse to use, but it can block middle urinal battles. I'll leave that choice to you, but personally, I'm rocking the short urinal all the way. Also, it helps that I'm 5'6". The urinal wall is an interesting one, since there's a lot more of them, but they are really close together. I'd say this setup takes a little bit less strategy, but it's still important to know what to do. Here, what you want to do is go to the far end of the wall, furthest away from the entry of the bathroom. Then you can take either the farthest one or the second farthest one. Taking the second farthest urinal gives you a little bit more room, and also if someone does go all the way down to stand right next to you, you're probably a goner anyways, so might as well give yourself that extra space. And with that, there's only one more thing I need to mention. This urinal. If you see this urinal, run.